I wonder if Bernie Sanders is causing Hillary to get flashbacks of Obama just swooping in like a winged donkey and carrying off her chance at the presidency. Wait, I thought Bernie Sanders was supposed to be all about women's equality and fairness. I mean, there hasn't been an equal amount of women as president. Since he leaned so far to the left, maybe he ought to keep leaning his behind out of the way so Hillary can have her turn at the presidency like she's entitled to.
I think with that propaganda.
Bernie Sanders has enough going for him to get Hillary nervous. How is this possible? He's 73 years old. I thought liberals considered that to be too old. And on a side note, it's weird that Hillary shrugs off scandals that range between Benghazi and ditching emails, but she gets shaken up by a 73-year-old man? Anyway, John McCain wasn't my pick back in the day, but it was him or the alternative. But while liberals insisted that John McCain was too old, they're okay with Bernie Sanders? But we can always count on liberals to be consistently inconsistent. Liberals be like, we hate racism, but we love race baiting. We hate Nazis, but we love socialism. The children are the future, but we support abortion, which very effectively cancels a kid's future. Earning lots of money is evil, but taking money away from income earners is good. But Bernie Sanders is representing. And if Hillary wants to beat Bernie, she's got to go to the left of him. She's got to patronize the poor really hard because Bernie's net worth doesn't come close to hers. So she's really got to play up how broke she is. Oh, I'm so poor. I'm just like you. I'm a good person because I'm poor. Don't you think a good person who's poor should be in the White House? Meanwhile, the most unsafe places to live is in poor neighborhoods because you will get robbed or worse. Not saying that all poor people are bad. I'm saying don't be suckered by people using poverty to relate to you or use poverty to try to give themselves a virtuous image. Somebody else being poor doesn't help you. As Larry Elder said, I never got a job from a poor man. But unfortunately, too many people are seduced by this kind of representation. They want to be represented by a victim because they're conditioned to feel like victims. Obama represented as a victim, so it's only fair to vote for him. And that formula is going to be played again. Don't think it won't work just because people are getting more disenchanted with Obama. I told you, it's not about Obama. It's what he represents. The reason why people who supported him are getting mad at him is because they started to see him as not being forceful enough with pushing through their ideals and not going far enough, and don't understand that the very policies they want and the social economic vengeance that they want is a painful process in itself without end. They're not waking up to how bad his policies are. They want the same stuff, but are going to look for the person they think can push it better. No matter what, y'all, the platform of the Democrat Party has always been about forcing someone to be subject to someone else. Democrats wanted the state to protect their so-called right to deprive another of theirs. Now the Democrats want the people to be subject to the state, period. Democrats claim to be all about freedom and fairness, but don't care about what their freedom costs others, and don't understand that their approach to fairness is by being unfair to others. Like I said, they're consistently inconsistent. Even when it comes to someone articulating exactly what they want, many of them try to be dismissive of it. Like this statement that was discussed between Norma Mattoon Thomas and Upton Sinclair, saying the American people will never knowingly adopt socialism, but under the name of liberalism, they will adopt every fragment of the socialist program until one day America will be a socialist nation without knowing how it happened. He went on to say, I no longer need to run as a presidential candidate for the Socialist Party. The Democratic Party has already adopted our platform. Even though this is what liberals want, many of the left-wingers don't want to own up to that statement and are dismissive of it, the same way they don't want to own up to or are dismissive of the KKK being founded by the Democrat Party. However, they're able to throw people off their bigoted scent by consistently bringing it up and dropping it on you. Bernie Sanders did an interview with Joe Madison, and being that Joe is a liberal, he's gonna race bait. And being that Bernie is a liberal, he's gonna race bait too, and toss out race baiting breadcrumbs to the ballot box. The question is still being asked, should America apologize for slavery? And Bernie Sanders thinks America does. America doesn't need to apologize for slavery. If anybody should be held accountable for slavery, it should be Democrats. It doesn't make sense that many Americans still want to punish America for slavery, but don't hold Democrats accountable for it. That would be like wanting all of Germany punished for the Jewish Holocaust while supporting the Nazi Party and never holding them accountable. Which fits because Democrats and Nazis are both Jew-despising socialists, and Bernie Sanders is a Jew running on the Democratic ticket for the party that's rooted in anti-Semitism, the Klanocrats. And people wonder why I keep talking about this stuff. Because they do. Bernie Sanders wants to be president, and he's taken the opportunity to take advantage of race baiting to patronize a voter bloc. Most conservative Republicans understand the insidious nature of Democrats and the history of their institutionalized bigotry. And I applaud those who are swinging back and even proactively setting the record straight that when people like Joe Madison and Bernie Sanders say that America needs to apologize for slavery, we say, nah, buddy, that shame is on Democrats. Many real Americans wanted slavery to be done with, and they chose Republicans to represent them to that end. Those who wanted slavery to remain chose Democrats to represent them. You want recompense for slavery? You want your 40 acres and a mule for slavery? Go see Democrats. They even have an ass for their party symbol so you know where to go. But I digress, because a lot of these people who are suckered by the Democrats vote for them because they're fooled into believing that Democrats are going to be their champion to make America pay. And the deceived don't even realize that the party that they're trusting to make America pay is the party that stained America with institutionalized bigotry in the first place. True to Democrat form, they'll promise you what you feel you're owed, but they're not going to take the responsibility to pay for it. They're going to make someone else pay for it. And they've been running that game for decades, keeping you angry about something that they did while making you think it was someone else. And they collect money and votes from you because you think they're going to give you what you're owed. That check's been in the mail for decades. All the bigotry that Americans are still so bitter about is because of Democrats. From the Confederacy to the KKK to the Anti-Coolie Act to the unions that didn't want blacks to compete with whites for jobs to anti-miscegenation to Jim Crow to Japanese internment camps to the animosity of the Jews to the death of Martin Luther King. Republicans, keep hammering out the truth of the Democrats' history. Be as relentless and unyielding with telling the truth about them as they are about telling lies about you. And distinguish yourself from selfish and self-righteous saboteurs who claim to vote Republican while defending this symbol of Democrat shame and calling it Southern pride. Make people like Bernie Sanders eat that flag when he says that America needs to apologize for slavery. Don't let these other so-called Republican voters associate that flag with us. That flag was flown by people whose purpose was to kill Republicans. These people are saboteurs. They are messing things up for you when you try to edify people with the real deal of who the Democrats are. And that flag is part of who Democrats are. Don't fall for lame arguments like, well, if we ban the Confederate flag, then I guess that means we have to ban everything else associated with slavery, like the pyramids. Wrong. Banning the Confederate flag is stupid. You want to buy it and fly it? That's on you. You want to sell it? That's your right to. Just keep it away from us, please. Also, flying the Confederate battle flag over a state building is wrong. Why? It's very simple. It's a battle flag. And when you fly the battle flag over a state building, then what you're saying is that we are at a state of war with the United States while flying that flag on American soil. That is why the flag should be taken down. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and I'll remind you who created that flag. That's right, Bernie Sanders. Okay, he's not quite that old, but he represents the Democrat Party, the party of the Confederate battle flag. Oh, I'm sorry, the battle flag of Virginia. The battle flag of Tennessee. The so-called Republican voters, albeit very few of them, position themselves as unwitting pawns for Democrats as they make pointless arguments defending the flag of the enemy. What's the big difference? That one flag is square and the other one's rectangular? Let me borrow a line from the one who could very well be the next president, thanks to a little help from our so-called Republican voters who sabotage us by defending this square or rectangular flag. What difference does it make?